You're listening to the One Man Show Network. Welcome to the MMA Fight Picks Podcast with your host, Aaron Weinbaum.
Welcome to the MMA Fight Picks Podcast. I am your host, Aaron Weinbaum, taking a little work break here to reach you, the people, for our third event in Florida in a week in Jacksonville, Florida. So another event, another hashtag, I guess. So this is UFCFL, I suppose. If you are on the Periscope and you want to help me pick some fights or say hi or ask me a question or whatever, I will gladly answer you and we'll do that. And sorry, great response on YouTube last week. Great response for the podcast overall. Everyone obviously likes it better when I pick actual fights. So I'm glad I got to do that here these last 3 times. And this is a special bonus episode, 2 events, 2 Fight Picks podcasts. So like I said, if you want to help join along, please do on the Periscope, or you can try to contact me on Twitter if you're watching me that way as well. First off, I do want to apologize. I'm not multi-streaming on YouTube because I'm having certain trouble. I was using Restream, but I don't have the upload speed to pull it off. I don't think I ever will. Works great with Ecamm, but unfortunately with Ecamm right now, I can only do one platform at a time. So I picked the one where the most listeners are, and that is Periscope. But luckily, this podcast is sponsored by Ecamm, and soon I will be testing the multi-stream platform on there. But enough about that. You want to hear about fights. First of all, let's talk about last night's fight. Anthony Smith, Glover Teixeira, man, did not go the way I thought it would go. Glover looked good after that first round. He just laid it on him, and Anthony, God bless him. I wish somebody out there was looking out for him, like his James Krause and whatnot. But he needed to have the towel thrown in. It was crazy the amount of punishment he took. He wasn't coming back. You get Keith Peterson. He gets ridiculed for putting Dom out early, and then this guy, I can't remember who he is, but anyway, it is what it is. I wish I would have bet money on the OSP Ben Rothwell fight. It went exactly like I thought. He's just not used to fighting those heavier guys. OSP, I think he is a heavyweight by nature. He came in 102 or 240 pounds rather. He looked pretty good. And I just think he has to get used to that strength. I think he will, though. I think he will. I hope he continues the heavyweight, gets used to those bigger guys, and he can't impose his will against like a Ben Rothwell, just a real natural big dude. So I wish I would have bet money on that fight. It went exactly like I thought it would. But now we're talking about Jacksonville, Saturday, again, the Veterans Memorial Arena, the most famous arena in all of the world right now because they are the only ones putting on sports until, of course, we get Fight Island, wherever that is. First up, the immortal Matt Brown against Miguel Baeza. And, next to Hand of God beer, Caramel Thunder might be my new favorite nickname. Miguel Baeza, Caramel Thunder. Let's take a look at Matt Brown first. Matt Brown went on a little bit of skid for a while, but all of a sudden, he strings together 2 wins in a row. Diego Sanchez and Ben Saunders. Before that, that skid was, dating back to 2016, and they were all 3 in 2016 against top guys, Damian Maia, Jake Ellenberger, Donald Cerrone. But he looked really good against Ben Saunders last December. Man, it's hard because this guy's a veteran. I've never heard of Miguel. He's on the ups. He just beat Hector Aldana back in, when was it? October. So he hasn't fought in a while. He is a Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series guy, which I hope that show comes back soon, I missed that. But I don't think that's due till the fall, if I'm not correct. So this is his first fight second fight rather in the UFC besides the Contender Series. Second fight, yeah. But really, he's beaten nobody I know of. Nobody I've ever really heard of. Oh, man. It's hard because, Matt Brown, the Immortal, is it probably the tail end of his career? Maybe not. I apologize if that's not the case. But, I am going to go with the veteran in this one. I'm going with Matt the Immortal Brown. Next up, Song Yadong against Marlon Vera. All right. let's take a look at this. So there was a weird draw he had against Cody Stamann. I didn't think he looked. Listen, Uriah Faber hyped this guy up like he's the next coming of whatever, and he credited his win. Uriah credited his win of Ricky Simone with training of Song Yadong. So I don't know, but I don't think he looked great against Cody Stamann. Cody Stamann is probably right there, top 4, I would say, in that division, 135-pound division. But he does have some nice wins to him, Alejandro Perez, Vince Morales. But, Marlon Vera, again, who's he beaten either? Andre Ewell. He did beat Frankie Sands. That's a big deal. Frankie's a good fighter. But I think I'm going to believe the hype in this one. I am going to go with Song Yadong. I think they're trying to build this guy up, as they should. They don't do enough of that. Get him some quality wins, and maybe he's a contender in the featherweight division. Or, no, bantamweight. My bad. Bantamweight. I always get these names mixed up. Okay. Next up, Eric Anders, Christoph Jacko. All right, I once made the mistake saying that Jacko was Russian. He's Polish, I believe. So, anywho, I do have some Looky Loos on Periscope, so feel free to ask me a question or, whatnot, or make a little comment. I better open up that Twitter just in case. And I hope my comments are working. I don't know if they were last. Anyway, he does. Looking at Eric Anders. He did beat Gerald Marshall. It was a split decision. I think that fight probably should have gone to Gerald, but, both of these guys follow me on Twitter, so I like them both, obviously. For that, a win over Vinicius Moreira. But then he has 3 losses in a row. Cleo Roundtree, Elias Theodoro, Thiago Santos, and Jacko. I saw this guy fight, I believe. Gosh, where was it? Yeah, it was. It was Pittsburgh. I saw him lose to Uriah Hall. And, that was in the middle of a 3-fight skid he had, but he does have 2 wins. Decision, Alan Amadovsky and Marc-Andre Barriault. But I like Eric Anders' strength of schedule better. The guy's an athlete, man, and big dude. I'm going with Eric Anders to win this fight. What is today? Today is Thursday, so this next one, I have the right to change my mind. Dan Ige against Edson Barbosa. Edson Barbosa cutting down to 145 pounds. I don't know if he's cutting off an arm or what to make that weight, because he looked like a big 155 pounder. And, I don't know where he's training or whether or not this is ideal for him, making this weight cut. But, I don't know, man. This is very, very interesting. But let's take a look at Dan Ige. I mean, whole lot of green, whole lot of wins. He hasn't lost since 2018 against Julio Arce, but he has rattled off wins against Mike Santiago, Jordan Griffin, Danny Henry, Kevin Aguilar, Mirsad Bektic. I did pick Mirsad to win that one, by the way, and very surprising. But Edson Barbosa, he did just fight Paul Felder in a barn burner. Listen, that was a close fight, so I can't really say that he was robbed, but he did, of course, lose to Justin Gaethje in a sick knockout punch. And then he has a win over Dan Hooker, and that's kind of a big deal. I mean, Dan is, he is probably right there for the title hunt. I mean, Dan's beating some good guys. I like Quinta. Gosh, I don't know, man. This is kind of crazy. I'd like to see like a Dan Hooker, Tony Ferguson. I'm just throwing that out there. Matchmakers, if you hear me, but I don't know. I listen, it's only Thursday. I don't know what's going on. I don't like making these predictions, and I don't like being right, but I am right a lot. And I don't think Edson either won't make the weight, or if he does make the weight, it's going to take a lot out of him, and Danny Gay is going to win it. So, sorry, Edson Barbosa fans. I am as well an Edson Barbosa fan, but we shall see. Big fight for Angela Hill against Claudia Gadelha. Angela Hill, who probably fought 50 times in 2019. I don't know. I think that's the official stat, but, good on her. But, man, Claudia just had a win over Ronda Marcos, loses to Nina Ansaroff. I believe that is the life partner of Amanda Nunes. She's kind of very streaky here. Does have a win over Carla Esparza, loses Jessica Andrade, and this is going all the way back to 2017. So not the most active has Claudia been. But then Angela Hill, super active, 3 wins in a row. Loma, I can't even say her name. Lukabumni, Hannah Cyphers, Ariana Konasalasi. Okay. I just think the activity alone here is going to benefit Angela Hill. She's not been really out of the gym. Maybe there's a COVID thing here or there, but I don't know. I think she's been training. She's been super active, whether she's been training or not, and that certainly does help. I get that Claudia's coming off a win, but I think this would probably will be an upset. But I like Angela Hill in this fight. I think Angela Hill, this is where she really makes that climb to the top. And, I'd like to see her really, maybe get like a Carla Esparza or someone after this, or someone in that realm and right there in that ranking. But here we go. The main event of the evening, Alistair Overeem against Walt Harris. Man, the Reem. We all remember the Reem of old. This is, I guess, the Reem of new. There's a little less of him there. I'm not sure why. Just had a real 4 seconds left to go, winning this fight on everything, and gets beat by Jairzinho Rosenstreich, who just got beat by Ngannou, who's also beaten Alistair Overeem. This is not about Ngannou, okay? Not about Ngannou at all. He has wins over the best of the best, but he has been streaky in the heavyweight division. He did have a win over Alexei Olenek, Sergey Pavlovich, loses to Curtis Blades knockout, loses to Ngannou knockout. But this is 2017. So Alistair, who did actually fight twice in 2019, coming back. That's the most active he's been, I think, since 2017. So yeah. No, I take that back. He did fight twice in 2018. All right. Enough of that. Walt Harris. God love him, and awful what he had to go through with his stepdaughter, and I have a daughter as well, so that kind of hits close to home, right around the same age. My daughter's 20 years old. But, he is on a bit of a win streak, and I do have a little bit of a problem with it, but he did beat Alexei Olenek with a punch, TKO Sergey Spivak, Daniel Splits, but, he has 2 losses before that. Mark Godbeer, he illegally kicked him, which I don't know about that. But then I want to go back to this Verdum fight, because I think this is where the Overeem fight's going to be decided. As much as I'm rooting for Walt Harris here, there are certain levels to this game, and I know it was kind of a short notice, last-minute opponent when Walt Harris fought for Vicio Verdum, but I just tend to think that, it's going to be kind of the same. I think the jiu-jitsu, the grappling, there's going to be a big gap there, and if Alistair's smart, he hasn't been doing so good standing with these guys like he used to be. You'd think he would try to do a little grappling here and take Walt out that way. So, as much of a feel-good story as it would be for Walt Harris to win, Gotta go with the Reem on this one. I think based on experience and based on him, following that game plan, a grapple-heavy game plan. So, awesome. Watching the fight Saturday night. I hope you will too. This is a very exciting time, where the rest of the world is shut down. God love the UFC and what they're doing. I think there's going to be some learnings from this. There will probably be some more corona-positive tests, but, just the way they got Jacare out of there and the way no one else got sick, I think they were doing everything correct. It's, and people are saying, the guy's getting tested and whatnot. I do think that they tested Jacare late for him to get that far and then get a positive test. So, clearly that would be a learning. You don't want that happening where you could, nobody knows he's positive or negative. And then he was the only one following protocol, which was kind of weird too. He had the mask, the gloves and everything else. But I think unless you have a negative test, like, that day or the day before, you gotta do the PPE, the protective equipment that way. But I'm not a doctor. I'm just a fake MMA handicapper, I guess. So that is it. If there are no more comments on the Periscope, I'm going to shut this down and enjoy the fights. Shalom.
Please remember to support the podcast by visiting the affiliate links on AaronSaysWhat.com.